Hello viewers, welcome to MBTV Weekly Property Roundup. We bring to you top developments from Indian real estate space, which is going to have a lasting impact on you as consumer. I am Prasun Kumar, marketing head of Magicbricks, and with me is Jayashree Kurup to sort out all your issues and to decode all the news items here, senior real estate journalist with her. Welcome, Jayashree.
Thank you, Prasun.
All right, Jayashree, action has been happening. We see various sectors of economy now recovering, and some recovering almost to a pre-COVID level. In real estate, also we have seen strong demand uptick and consumers coming back. But the lingering issues that were there, the fundamental challenges that were there, they are yet to be resolved, right? And and so lots of news coming in this direction. Though a lot of movement has happened. One such important news was when Finance Minister had announced alternate funding, alternate investment fund to ease out the liquidity situation, so that stuck projects could be completed. Now there, seems to be a lot of movement happening. What's your take on that?
Prasun, firstly, the alternate investment fund, which was the 25,000 crore Swami fund, we have seen that at least the announcements of disbursals have happened. Recently, when we did a show, a lot of developers said that the actual disbursals haven't started on the ground. So till that happens, we can't say that there is a lot of movement in the Swami fund. But when the finance minister announced the alternate investment fund, she also did say that this would trigger a lot of others to come into the Indian real estate space and start doing last mile funding so that they could come in, complete projects, take their money out and exit. Now, here there is one issue that has come up, which is the last in, first out, which means that the last mile funder comes in with the extra cash, brings in the cash in a stressed market, completes the project, and is the first to take out the money. To do this, they need the existing lenders have to give an NOC. Now, this NOC is in many cases a challenge, and this has not been resolved yet. However, the fact that there is a lot of private equity funds which have raised money, the Series A, Series B, Round 1, Round 2 funds for last mile funding in Indian real estate. And, there have been 2 or 3 companies which have actually announced this. And I thought this is important because this shows that the Indian real estate is now attractive enough for a lot of people. And that is why I thought that this is an important story. They have already announced that they have shortlisted projects in, I think Empower is the one which has announced that they've shortlisted projects in Noida, in Gurugram, some of the most stressed markets. That's very positive because that means that wherever there's a cash flow positive project, whichever geography it's in, it's attracting last mile funds.
Yeah, it's important because with the demand coming back, if consumer confidence is seeping in back into real estate, it's time that enough steps are taken on the liquidity side so that projects could be completed and new projects start coming in now, so that you have that healthy supply demand cycle start going again.
And remember that the demand is for ready to move in and not for the construction.
So it's important to complete projects there, hence the funding, right?
Yeah.
All right, to ease out, therefore, or to stimulate demand rather, we heard what Maharashtra had done in terms of reduction of stamp duty. Now UP RERA is suggesting that UP government should do the same, and that should help the stressed market of Noida and other markets in UP. How do you foresee this? Do you see other states also taking a cue from Maharashtra and taking such measures to boost consumer confidence right now?
Absolutely. I think after Maharashtra, UP has been the most proactive during this lockdown and so on. UP has been extremely proactive as far as the real estate markets go. So the UP RERA, that it's been one of the best functioning RERAs in the country. So they have their demand to the government carries a lot of weight. So if a RERA asks the government to reduce the stamp duty, the chances of the government listening to them is much higher than if just consumers ask for it. So I think it's a positive move. I see this becoming a norm, at least in the next few months, because wherever there is, they drop the prices, the compliance goes up, which means that the number of transactions goes up. The city actually makes more money. We've seen that in Mumbai.
Yeah. And to ease out the consumer burden, not only the stamp duty, but now we see some district administrations also taking a call to not increase the circle rates in their own geographical domain. Again, much to the relief of existing property owners.
Yes, absolutely. Anyone who's a buyer now, you should not, if the circle rates are not raised, then the stamp duty registration rates normalize. And also remember, your property taxes are linked to these circle rates. So it is a relief all around.
Yeah. All right. Now moving away from this, demand stimulus news that came. One news came where in one of the street projects in Gurugram, Supertech Hues, there Haryana RERA has decided to stay the e-auction of the project by PNB Housing. What was this entire story all about?
We did a special show around this on last Friday. The Haryana RERA chairman himself came and explained the issue. The thing was that, Supertech Hues, the land is not in Supertech's name. The license is not in Supertech's name. It was in a sister concern's name. And suddenly, when PNB as a lender came and said that I'm going to auction off this property, the RERA stepped in and said that you can't do that. And it is not a very contentious decision. PNB did approach RERA to say that we need our money out. So we are planning to do this. And RERA has been working with the lender, with the developer and so on. Now, this is what RERA has to say. If one thing is that the money that has been lent by PNB, and this is true of all lenders, they have lent money on land, on what is to be constructed, that is what is already sold and mortgaged to other consumers. And the third thing is that even the receivables have been mortgaged. Now, you can't do that, right? In the previous eras, the lending has been very, very flawed. And therefore, I'm really happy that one regulator stepped in and said, no, enough is enough. You have to complete the project. In fact, they are suggesting to the lender, why don't you put in a little extra money, complete the project, let the project go through, let the consumers get their houses, you take whatever else, and then resolve this. So we are hoping that this will go through, because this becomes a precedent for a lot more projects.
That's true. And considering that so many consumers are in stress,
yes,
because projects not getting delivered, the first initiative and the first approach of RERA anyway has to be completion of projects rather than getting the projects auctioned off to someone.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, close by Yamuna, Industrial Development Authority, YEIDA, has decided to extend the deadline for lease deed execution to March 2021. This is obviously for industrial development alongside Yamuna Expressway. But how does this help people who have decided to invest over there?
It is not only the industrial plots; it's also the residential plots along the Yamuna Expressway. And both of them, when they bought very many years ago, remember, it was very early stages of development. So those are early investors. Now, when all the facilities are there, in terms of water, power, sewerage, drainage, and civic facilities are there, that's when the registration starts. Now, what had happened was there were some corrupt officials who were trying to force people to register in, I think, Sector 32 and so on, where the infrastructure work was still underway. I mean, it's early stages of infrastructure work. So the authority has stepped in and said, no, they'll give time till March 2021. The work will progress on the ground, and according to the completion of civic infrastructure is when registration should happen. This, Prasun, is a very long-lasting decision, because historically, even in Gurugram, in various other cities, what you've noticed is external and internal development charges are taken by the government, but the authorities don't provide the facilities. Here's one authority saying that we'll finish providing their facilities and then do the registration. That's a very positive move. All round what I'm seeing is there's a lot of governance, positive governance initiatives.
Yes, and absolutely, and always, development should follow infrastructure. Infrastructure needs to come first, and that's the practice that we have been lacking in. And now we see a lot of action happening in that direction. So let's just hope this becomes a norm. Now, one interesting news came last week, Jayashree, which is something that impacts everyone, you and me as well, everyone who resides in a housing society. And because of the pandemic, obviously the need of sanitization of society premises is one of the primary needs right now. And especially with cases happening inside society premises and so on and so forth. Now, this has forced a lot of RWAs to increase their maintenance charges or to charge extra for providing those sanitation facilities. Now, residents obviously do not agree with this, and they complain. They are genuinely complaining that, listen, we are living under stress as well, and our incomes have taken a hitting and so on and so forth. But these costs are just going up. Now, on one hand, the requirement seems to be genuine, but on the other hand, if you look at from a resident's point of view, their point of view also, has to have a sympathetic look at. So, what's the way out on this?
The jury is still out because both sides are struggling, right? Like city managements are struggling for finances. If you look at the country's finances, the state's finances, and the city's finances, all of them are stressed because of the fact that we're spending so much in keeping citizens safe and residents safe. But on the other hand, the same somewhere you have to meet these demands, and that comes from either taxes or from these maintenance charges and so on. Now, clearly, the people who have to pay the charges are also facing salary cuts, job losses, enhanced health expenditure, and so on. And so this is there is something to be said on both sides, but the residents are going to protest, and the RWAs do need more money. Where this money will come from, right now, there's no solution, but it's a problem that's worth putting the spotlight on.
Yes, absolutely. Considering the fact that you have also been talking about in past how RWAs have become an important last mile governance mechanism for government bodies as well.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, city governments have now started relying on RWAs to render that last mile problems, solution of the problems. The civic authorities are working with RWAs. So there is a standing that has come, but there's no monetary mechanism that has come. And that's the...
Sure. Jayashree, one of the viewers has written to us, on this show, asking about, various undelivered flats and projects of Supertech. I presume you had been doing some shows on that. Can you just inform our viewers about those?
You see, what we did was we called the YEIDA member, Mr. Balwinder Kumar. He did a show with us where consumers asked a lot of queries. And I think a lot of the queries that came were from Supertech. It's one of the largest builders in the NCR, and the number of its projects that are stuck are very large. So what we did say, we did raise this issue to Mr. Balwinder Kumar as well. One of the things that we intend to do is we've reached out to Supertech and said, so many consumers have problems, why don't you come and address these issues? So Mr. Badrinath, we have taken cognizance of what you've said. I understand that paying 95% of your money 10 years back and not getting your project is a big issue. We are working with you, we are working for you, we're trying to see whether some resolution is possible, and I assure you that we are trying our level best to see whether we can get the developer to come and address your issues. We will get back to you very shortly. Do keep following us.
Sure.
And we put the link of the show that we did with Mr. Balwinder.
Yes, and you can see that link right now on the Magicbricks Facebook page. So that's it, viewer, for this week. We'll continue to come out with relevant pieces of information and news, and we'll have Jayashree to decode all of that for you. Keep watching MBTV.
Thank you.